Europe unleashed. The alliance is tearing off the brakes and flooding Ukraine with power, air defense, long-range punch, armored steel, and swarms of armed birds. Capitals are lining up, signatures are flying, and the Kremlin's mask is cracking. The message is simple: no more waiting. The game changes. This isn't business as usual. This is the moment before the break. Who moves next? Which capital drops the next shock announcement? What system arrives that flips the battlefield on its head? Let's talk about it. Hello, this is Ukraine Today. I'm Maria Farafonova, and here are the latest news. The Kremlin is in panic. More weapons for Ukraine are on the way. Finland will join the prioritized Ukraine requirements list initiative to purchase U.S. arms for Ukraine using NATO countries' funds. Finland's defense minister Antti Haakanen announced.
We believe it is absolutely vital for Ukraine to receive critically needed weaponry from the United States.
The minister did not specify how much money Finland would allocate to the project. He stressed that long-range weaponry is critically important for Ukraine and will have a clear impact on the course of the war. Antti Haakanen's view, achieving peace requires Western countries to step up support for Ukraine and impose additional economic sanctions against Russia. Meanwhile, Lithuania is ready to allocate 30 million euros to the PURL initiative and is waiting for allies to finalize the next military aid package.
Lithuania is ready to allocate $30 million for Pearl. We can transfer this money today if needed, and we very much hope the next package will be assembled as soon as possible.
Regarding the possible transfer of U.S. missiles to Ukraine, the Lithuanian official noted that Russia has long created strategic dilemmas for the allies, and that was its weapon against the West. Now she said it's time to create strategic dilemmas for Moscow.
A strategic dilemma isn't about greater or lesser retaliation, it's about more or less pain. And until Russia feels the consequences of its aggressive war, it will keep trying to expand its military power.
Slovenia isn't standing aside either. The country is also joining the program, Prime Minister Robert Golob announced.
It is our duty to help protect the Ukrainian people. That's why Slovenia has decided to join the Pearl initiative, to safeguard civilians and infrastructure, which is even more important on the eve of winter.
Golob added that Slovenia's assistance under the PURL program will focus on defensive weaponry. He mentioned air defense systems that will help protect Ukraine's energy infrastructure from Russian attacks. What a surge of payback! London is opening a new chapter of military aid ahead of schedule. No more waiting. Missiles, drones, armored vehicles, ammunition, everything to secure Ukraine's victory. Russia is melting down. Allies are present to the very end. Ukraine has finally reached parity. Our drones own the sky. The West applauds and sends even more weapons. Is this just the beginning? What will our partners unleash next? Find out in a moment.
The United Kingdom is strengthening Ukraine's skies. Hundreds of missiles for air defense systems were delivered 5 months ahead of schedule. This was reported on the British government's website during the visit to Kyiv by the Minister for Defense Readiness and Industry, Luke Pollard.
The development of industrial partnerships is important so that we can learn from their experience and together build the industrial base necessary to defend the United Kingdom, deter our adversaries, and support Ukraine.
We are talking about light multi-role missiles, LMM, which are produced as part of the British military support program for Ukraine. This is a high-precision missile measuring 1.3 meters in length, weighing only 13 kilograms, and with a range of up to 8 kilometers. It is equipped with a laser infrared guidance system, and its 3-kilogram fragmentation warhead with a proximity fuse makes it effective against both aerial and ground targets. The missiles can be launched from various platforms, including ground-based launchers such as Manpads, the Stormer SAM system, HVM or Rapid Ranger, as well as from helicopters and ships.
As illegal Russian aggression continues to intensify, European countries must unite and strengthen their support. Ongoing and sustained industrial cooperation, both with our dedicated government colleagues and our vital international allies, remains the only truly effective way to ensure a safe, secure, and prosperous future for the resilient people of Ukraine.
British support is not limited to supplies. At the same time, a new major phase of industrial cooperation has been announced. The package of £1.6 billion sterling, approximately $2 billion, is intended for integrating LMM missiles into Ukraine's air defense and expanding joint production capabilities. According to Luke Pollard, the total volume of UK military aid in 2025 will reach £4.5 billion, or $5.6 billion, a record figure for London for all time. And now another key element of cooperation. The United Kingdom and Ukraine are launching joint production of interceptor drones. The project could start in the coming months. We're talking about a production line capable of turning out around 2,000 interceptors per month. Such production rates are exactly what's needed to counter massive swarms of Shahed drones and other large-scale attacks by combat UAVs. The first production lines will be set up in the United Kingdom, but the project structure is designed to be flexible, so it can quickly respond to the needs of the front and relocate capacity closer to Ukraine if necessary. The British side promises to contribute development, research expertise, and modern manufacturing technologies that Ukrainian factories currently lack. This is not just a supply contract, it's an attempt to create sovereign capabilities for Ukraine. Equipment, technical support, training, and joint research and development chains. At the same time as the UK, the Netherlands also discussed a memorandum on joint drone production. European partners are building industrial cooperation that is meant to function not as a one-time delivery, but as a series of production lines, services, and training.
In other words, while we have long since successfully matched the impressive quality of drones with the so-called Russian, actually Iranian-Chinese, Shaheds, the truly significant and pressing question was, can we effectively scale up our own production capabilities in the same remarkable way that Iran and China have so successfully done for Russia? Well, it turns out we could. So, when it comes to long-range drones, we're now close to parity not only in terms of the quality of the machines, but also in their quantity, which is extremely important in this case. After all, this isn't the kind of war you can win with pinpoint strikes alone. Here, the sheer volume of strikes is what really matters. It's necessary, well, when we're talking about figures like a 20% reduction in all of Russia's oil refining industry. That's when you need operations on this kind of scale. And now we finally reached that scale.
Other allies of Ukraine are also preparing new support measures. The United States plans to continue supplying advanced weaponry, including air defense systems, artillery, and cruise missiles, as well as strengthening Ukraine's defense infrastructure. According to preliminary plans, in 2025 to 2026, the volume of military aid could amount to several $billion. Among the European countries, Germany and France are preparing to supply armored vehicles and ammunition, as well as expanding the training of Ukrainian soldiers at their training centers. Poland and the Baltic states are considering the possibility of providing additional types of weapons and equipment, as well as conducting joint exercises to enhance the combat readiness of Ukrainian troops. In addition, the allies are developing plans for the long-term integration of new air defense systems and artillery complexes so that Ukraine can build a resilient defense network and prepare for possible escalation from the Russian Federation. As part of humanitarian support, there are plans to expand programs for infrastructure restoration, medical assistance, and the training of specialists to work in crisis conditions.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism, and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now.
Right now, the Netherlands is arming Ukraine with Tomahawks, a bold, decisive move. Amsterdam is pulling allies into line, and a flood of weapons is coming that will send chills through the enemy on the front. Our forces are being equipped like never before, and Europe's patience has snapped. It's moving to the offensive. This is sensational. Nobody expected a weapons flow on this scale, and it could change everything. First details in our report. Watch now.
Ukrainian partners in Europe continue to provide assistance to Ukraine in its war with Russia.
We see that this is a criminal act of aggression. It is absolutely essential that Russia be held accountable for its crimes. And for this, a special judicial body must be established. This criminal aggression must be stopped. The killings must be stopped as soon as possible. So it is necessary to keep putting pressure on Russia in order to be able to impose more sanctions and do everything possible so that Ukraine can fight, can defend itself against these attacks on land and from the air.
New steps in the defense partnership with Ukraine. The Netherlands will contribute 55 million euros to the World Bank to support Ukraine.
We are doing everything we can to support Ukraine. And we are doing this not only in words, but also in our actions. So we have provided 55 million to the World Bank, 55 million euros to the World Bank in order to support humanitarian efforts in reforms, recovery, and reconstruction so that your country can emerge renewed. Our struggle, our fight.
The Netherlands and Ukraine will continue to cooperate within the framework of joint defense projects. The focus is on joint production of Ukrainian equipment in the Netherlands.
The Netherlands and Ukraine have agreed to work together on the production of drones that can be deployed here. And of course, we continue to provide unwavering support with military essential equipment, crucial ammunition, advanced F-16s, and various other sophisticated weapon systems.
The Netherlands was one of the first countries to agree to transfer its F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine. The first planes were delivered to Ukraine in 2024. Washington is now considering transferring Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine. Besides the US, these missiles are not only in the UK and Australia, but also in the Netherlands. The Kremlin got seriously tense. The propaganda outlet Izvestia even sent a letter to the Dutch diplomatic mission in Moscow, inquiring about the possibility of transferring Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine.
In a recent letter to Parliament, the government stated that considering Ukraine's persistently high needs on the one hand and the urgent security interests of Europe and the Netherlands on the other, the cabinet decided to allocate additional funding. Regardless of whether the Dutch government discloses information about the supplies being delivered, the Ministry of Defense is guided by the principle of operational security as well as the interests of third parties involved in the deliveries.
According to a Russian Telegram channel, 2 US Navy majors received approval from the State Department to purchase about 200 Tomahawk land-based missiles in various versions for the Netherlands under the Navy's Foreign Military Sales Program. The total cost of the program is estimated at between $2 and $19 billion. The transfer of the missiles to the Netherlands is in line with new rules under which Europe buys weapons from the US for Ukraine, the two majors remind. The question remains, when can we expect the first use? Well, for now, it has been openly stated that the Dutch Ministry of Defense has signed an agreement with the Estonian company Miltron Robotics and the battery manufacturer Tulip Tech for joint production of defense equipment. The company will supply Ukraine with more than 150 unmanned ground vehicles.
It is an honor for us to lead this project in partnership with the Netherlands and VDL. The SAMI's platform has already proven its value in combat conditions, and we believe that this contribution will significantly strengthen Ukraine's defense capabilities.
The cooperation is structural in nature and is planned for at least 10 years. New production lines are scheduled to be launched in the coming months. In addition, Miltron Robotics will provide comprehensive training for Ukrainian operators to ensure effective deployment and maintenance in the field. The new units will complement the 15 ZMI's machines that are already in operation in Ukraine and have proven their effectiveness on the battlefield since 2022.
This vehicle is capable of carrying 700 to 750 kilograms of payload. This means that it can transport not only the wounded, not only handle logistics such as delivering ammunition to the front line, for example, but also be used as a weapons platform because you can mount anything on it: machine guns, automatic cannons.
ZMIS is an unmanned transport platform designed to support the armed forces, logistics, reconnaissance, and combat support. Currently, the system is part of robotics programs and is in operation in 19 countries and 8 NATO member states.
The Netherlands is one of the most principled defenders of life, a country that truly helps our defense, our resilience, and, which is also important, our efforts to achieve justice.
The Netherlands has also allocated 300 million euros for the recovery and strengthening of Ukraine over the years 2025 to 2026. Out of this amount, 52 million euros will be allocated to energy infrastructure and water supply. Since 2022, the country has provided Ukraine with 26 billion euros, of which 13.6 billion have been directed towards military support. The Netherlands and its allies continue to support Ukraine in its fight for freedom and security.
France is charging into the fight. By tomorrow, it could push Putin over the edge. Paris is pouring weapons into Ukraine and back in Kyiv to the very end. Reinforcements for the armed forces of Ukraine on an unprecedented scale. This air defense is set to outmatch even the legendary Patriots. The hardware is rolling in by the column. Self-propelled howitzers, hundreds of armored personnel carriers, Recon tanks, and more. Maximum mode on. A drone factory is already running at full capacity. What other trump cards will our ally play next? All of it coming up in our report.
Strong support for Ukraine. Military and financial assistance since the very beginning of the full-scale war.
And from day one, we made a clear choice to support Ukraine in the face of Russia's aggressive war, and at the same time, to defend its independence and freedom.
Even despite political instability in the country, France has stated that this will not affect its military support for Ukraine. Macron himself has called for increasing aid and strengthening sanctions against Russia.
France plays a key role in the system of collective security in Europe, and accordingly, as a country that aspires to regional leadership on the European continent, France demonstrates its activity on the international stage not just through statements. France is providing Ukraine with practical military technical assistance. It should be noted that France's military technical assistance has already reached about 6 billion euros.
France was also one of the first countries to start supplying Ukraine with important weaponry.
France is one of the first countries to have supplied Ukraine with long-range strike capabilities. The fact is, France was among the first countries to allow the use of its cruise missiles for strikes on the territory of the Russian Federation. This is very noteworthy. In other words, the French are showing their support for Ukraine through concrete actions. Let me emphasize once again, this is in contrast to other European and global partners.
During the meeting between Zelensky and Macron, they discussed strengthening Ukraine's air defense ahead of winter, as well as the use of frozen Russian assets for the benefit of Ukraine.
France has also supplied Ukraine with strike capabilities. We're talking about French-made self-propelled artillery, the Caesar howitzers. In addition, the French side explicitly stated that, accordingly, they will also significantly strengthen the defensive capabilities of Ukraine's vital air defense system, providing crucial support. This is quite remarkable.
Moreover, thanks to France, Ukraine has something even better than the American Patriot system.
France, together with Italy, has supplied SAMP-T surface-to-air missile systems of Franco-Italian production for the needs of the armed forces of Ukraine. This is essentially an analog of the American Patriot system. And in certain aspects, it even surpasses the Patriot.
As for the French Mirage 2000 fighter jets, it is known that their number in the French Air Force has decreased, which means that several of these aircraft have indeed been delivered to Ukraine.
The number of aircraft supplied is up to about 10 units. But most notably, Ukrainian pilots underwent training courses in France not only on the Mirage 2000 F5, which is the main combat aircraft of the French Air Force, but also, accordingly, on the F-16.
And we should not forget about the possibility of training Ukrainian military personnel, which France is also actively conducting.
It was on French territory that the Anna of Kiev Brigade underwent its training. In addition, Ukrainian pilots and electronic warfare specialists are also undergoing training in France, and accordingly, air defense specialists as well.
Our experience, your industry. Ukraine and France have agreed to launch joint weapons production. This concerns drones and defense manufacturing.
First and foremost, this refers to both strike drones and interceptor drones. So, as we can see, in this regard, France is also supporting the Ukrainian side in the development of our defense industry.
And here is the first joint drone from the French company and the Ukrainian Antonov aircraft plant, who announced their cooperation 2 years ago. The Arak UAV has completed its first test flight with a pilot on board. Arak is capable of carrying out long-range patrol and reconnaissance missions, as well as delivering effective strikes, including against enemy aircraft.
What do you think about the latest events? Share your opinion in the comments, like the video, and stay informed about the main headlines. More to come.